Does this look cool if I just kind of hold this out like this?
Yeah.
Yeah, you look like a moth.
But I think you should do that the entire pod.
Yeah, that won't be distracting.
Woo! Wild Times regular pod remote. When's the last time we did a remote reg?
Year and a half?
But we try not to do it.
Right.
Since we got the new studio, we have not done it.
Good. This is a good use of our studio resources.
Yeah.
Yeah, we pay several $1,000s a month to go there, like a couple times.
All right. Well, look, let's address the elephant in the room. It's my fault that we're on a virtual pod, and the reason being, I got back at midnight last night from some hippo shenanigans. If you want to hear more about that, I can't talk about it publicly yet. Check out the bonus pods. But this is the Wild Times podcast, the greatest podcast in the world, the only one that Elon Musk regularly says is the best podcast in the world. I've heard him say it.
I was fascinated by that
twice yesterday.
Yeah, it was in Vanity.
He keeps talking about it.
It's crazy. I don't know why.
Is.
But I'm your host, Forrest Galante, the broologist. Joining me, as always, as usual, the beautiful, the effervescent, the wonderful Peter.
Wow, that makes me feel good. I haven't heard those kind words in a long time.
Haircut.
Wait, before you go on, I do want to talk a little bit just about my day. It'll be real quick.
Okay.
I was at the gym. You ever at the gym in the sauna?
I'm dressed for the gym. I just won't get there today.
The sauna, a male sauna, for those of you that don't know, is the most, at a gym, like a cheap gym, is the most disgusting fucking foul place in the entire world. And what makes it worse, I get angry in there every fucking day because some disgusting, like 65-year-old man, obese, comes in with no clothes on, completely fucking naked in a public gym, and starts making all of these grunting and fucking.
What are the noise? Why is he doing that? I mean,
dude, I don't know.
People are allowed to be naked in the sauna, but why is he grunting?
I'm telling you, he's grunting. He grunted when he got up onto the fucking thing. We all had to shuffle over and then just threw out. And then, dude, he's basting himself in his own sweat. I'm saying, like, he's just like, and you can hear the like, what are you doing, dude? There's other people in here. I'm sorry. I love the sauna, but I cannot stand those old men who just don't give a shit about anybody else.
That's 100% me in not very many years. Like, I'm talking like 2 to 3.
I'm caring way less about stuff I do. Like, like if I feel like a crusty booger in my nose, I could be dropping my kid off at school and it doesn't matter. I don't care. I'm just going to take it out.
Fair enough. It's awful.
I will tell you this. The woman I sat next to on the plane yesterday, flying home, Houston to LAX.
As you stunk of hippo shit, yeah.
I did, but what she did was far more obnoxious.
She toot?
No, it was one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen. She sat in silence, was totally polite, was raw dogging the whole flight. Didn't look at a phone, didn't look at anything. Just sat there with her eyes open. I think she was Japanese. She was very like put together and like structured, and like she just sat like this, like staring at the wall in front of me.
I know where this is headed.
I don't know if you do, because
I've reached over and put her hand in your lap.
Yeah, it was nice. All right, you guys figured it out. No, but she then, like, probably 45 minutes before we landed, did one of the most bizarre things I've ever seen a person do on a flight. She took out a small thing of baby oil and spent, I'm not exaggerating, probably close to 10 minutes self-massaging vigorously. And it was like, for the first minute, I was like, okay, like, I get it. You're like warming yourself up or something.
Sorry, where? You've left out. As a storyteller, you have failed. What part of her body, sir?
Dude, it was bizarre. So she reached into her purse. She sat motionless, staring at the seat in front of us for a good 2.5 hours. Then she just like breaks character, reaches down into her purse, takes out a mini little thing of, I assume, baby oil, but some form of oil, dabs it in her hands, puts it back, and then just vigorously rubs her body. Jesus, I just knocked my headphone cable out. Vigorously rubs her whole body, her face, her neck, starts massaging her arms, massaging each finger, but like vigorously, to the point that my seat was shaking. She was hitting the seat in front of her. Like,
no.
But this went on for like, it'd be fine if it was like a 45-second, like, all right, I need to like stretch or something. Yeah. This went on for, I'm not exaggerating, for a second, like 10 minutes.
Show me, and do it in a way that works for audio. No exaggeration. Show me how vigorous she was doing this. Okay. Yeah.
Nice and gentle.
Gentle hand rub. That doesn't sound too bad. That is wild.
for like 10 minutes. Her thighs, she did her thighs, like she had like a skirt or like a dress on,
What?
hold her dress up
Wow.
to her knees, and then sort of put her hands under the dress.
How old
Uh,
was this lady?
Probably in her like mid to late 40s. Like
I
not
bet did she look like she was about 22? Because I feel like
no,
no?
no. She
Okay.
was not attractive. She was in decent shape, but it was just the vigor with which she was rubbed
Vigor with which
in a on a public flight. And I was like, at first I was the only one staring because after a few minutes I was like, all right, I gotta like mean mug her to make her stop.
Yeah.
And she continued to deadpan at the seat in front of us. And then I don't know, no less than 12 people started staring at her, and she just
Yeah.
continued to do it.
Now
very interesting.
let me ask you this. Let's say she was quite attractive
Yeah.
and like, you know, in the age range. And she was just doing it very soft and subtly, supply, gently. She was gently rubbing oil into her thighs, and she was very attractive.
Jesus,
Would
Pat.
you have had a problem with this?
Of course not. If she was beautiful, I'd be like, hey,
That would have been
good
whack
for you.
material for
What are
later
your
that night.
secrets and can I help you?
Whack material.
Wow.
I mean,
Yeah.
it's true though. If she were a gorgeous lady, I would be like, you know, there's something to this. Like, good for you.
Same thing with the guy in
I
the
don't
sauna.
think so. Not with that vigor. Even if she was beautiful,
true.
a 10 out of 10, you can't rub that vigorously.
The vigor is what made it so off-putting. It was so bizarre that she like, it was like she was trying to stimulate growth in her muscles. And I was like, why are you
I
doing such a thing?
I
It
was
was
gonna say, like, the Japanese culture, they really do have some secrets to longevity and health, and I feel like they look young longer. And I was wondering, I mean, this might be something I'm gonna look into and see if I could use it to keep my fresh baby face
Vi-
for a few extra years.
Vigorous plane rubs.
Well, it's got to be on a plane with baby oil or
that
maybe
may be
olive
the
oil.
ticket. I cannot say for sure, but that may be the ticket to longevity. But it was really awful to be seated next to it, to be quite honest.
Yeah, I'm sorry you had to go through that, Forrest.
Thanks. I wanted to get that out.
um, Kyle, I don't know if you can play the jingle, but it's time for what's in the news, isn't it?
It
Isn't
is.
it?
Yep. It
It's
is.
always time for what's in the news. All right, yeah, we're
What's
faking
in the news?
There it is.
Oh, he's got it.
Oh yeah, that jingle brings me back. Okay, thank you for the
I
jingles.
wish
All
we were
right.
in the studio.
This one has really captivated me.
Say more.
It's being called the stuff of nightmares.
Hmm.
It's being called
Great.
ripped right out of the show The Last of Us.
Okay.
There is
I like that show.
a zombie fungus infecting spiders in Ireland.
Oh
Wait till you
no.
see what it looks like. It is straight out of The Last of Us,
Oh,
the
man.
TV show. Look at its head.
Yeah, that's not great.
What in the world is
It
that?
looks like
I
it has
hate
a monster mask
I
on.
hate it.
Picture, if you're only listening, a scary spider with its legs and hairy legs, and then a monster mask on.
I hate it.
Yeah.
I
It's-
hate it. I can tell that it's going to take over the world. I hate it.
Go
At
down
least-
to
yeah.
the next photo.
Oh
Look at
my
that.
God, Medusa hair.
Ugh.
So Jibelula Attenborough was first discovered.
I bet David Attenborough's thrilled that was named after him.
Yeah, exactly. It was named after him. First discovered in 2021, but it's now been found in several different caves in Ireland. Only in caves. They have not seen it, come up to the surface yet. But yeah, they don't know what's going on with this. It's taking over these spiders' heads. I mean, we've heard about it with the zombie ants, right?
Mhm, yeah.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
This is
It's
horrific.
It says here that it takes over control of like its dopamine receptors and makes it value, much like a heroin addict, the feeling that it gets from the fungus itself over its own life. So the spider comes out of its lair just to cover itself in this fungus and disperse the fungus because it makes its happy chemicals happy about it.
Well, that's why
I don't like this.
that's
I
why
don't
The
like this
Last
part
of
this.
Us, I think, has struck such a chord with people
Explain.
because it
Because of I see what you're saying.
because it feels so plausible.
Yeah.
Because we know that it exists in nature. So, this idea of the fungus taking over your corpse and it feels like a plausible end of days scenario. So then anytime a piece of news like this comes up, it feels
It has been
heightened.
found on 2 species of spider occupying different types of environments in the cave systems. It's only a matter of time.
It's
It is
spreading.
only I don't care. I know we talk all the time now. We seem to be obsessed with it, with AI taking over. It's just
Something.
all these things are gonna come together. They're all gonna like AI is gonna figure out that it's gonna become self-aware, like we always talk. I sound like such a fucking loon. I don't care. AI
Yeah.
is gonna become self-aware. Then it's gonna figure out, like, okay, well, my creators of humans say I can't harm humans, so I'm just gonna alter them. So then it's gonna like realize that there is fungus in spider brains that
Mm.
can control people and things. And then it's gonna be like, all right, let's just make a couple tweaks here. Now we're gonna spread this to the human population, and bam,
Couple
now we're in control. And that's
couple
it.
tweaks.
Yeah, just a little
Yeah.
who done it.
The scariest stuff does start from the lower animal kingdom on Earth, as we know. I mean, dude, imagine basically a fungus that tells your brain you're doing heroin or something that feels very good, so much to the point, or you're just getting hammered. You know how it feels great. You're in a great mood, makes you walk outside naked and just start spraying it all over the neighbors. And you're just like, you got to try this. You got to try this fungus. The whole neighborhood pretty soon is infected. You're partying and then you die just standing in place outside in the streets,
So
man.
you're spreading the fungus like you're spreading chicken coupons kind of thing?
Yeah, dude, come on. That's a sensitive subject. Go back to podcast 2 or 3 to hear that story.
Well,
Um,
yeah, I mean, dude, it's pretty yeah, I was 'cause it's funny 'cause I clicked on this BBC article and then right below it was a link to another one where a guy got bitten by a spider, little spider bite, and, he didn't think anything of it, and by the next day, it had already turned into a flesh-eating somehow the spider transferred a flesh-eating bacteria into this guy's stomach, and
yuck.
they had to open him up, and it was, like, necrotic.
Yikes, man.
I'm not with any of this. I'm not
Yeah,
with
we don't
any of
need
this.
this.
Nah.
Well, it's good. I mean, we got to talk about
What
some of
is
these
good
things.
about this? You
Yeah, well, it's good, it's good.
It's
yeah,
good for the fungus. That's about it.
dude. It's yeah, we're so fucked.
Well, you're a big fan of fungus, though. I mean, mushrooms gave us a good fungus that we can eat.
D- I don't know how we didn't get into this. I was home for all of speaking of fungus, do you know I was home for all of what, 2 days before I had to leave for Colombia?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did I tell you the delight that was when I got home? My
N-
freezer situation?
no, no.
Don't say that it got unplugged.
Covered in fungus. Dude, so I love Rocket Money. We've been using it for now a year. They hooked me up with an account. And I'll tell you what, I have gotten an account for my mom. My mom is elderly, and we're all trying to get together and we're trying to get her finances sorted so we can see what we can do with the next steps of her life and make sure everything's in order. And I threw her bank account into Rocket Money. Boom. It basically categorized everything into so we know what she's spending on, what she owes, and everything. And I can have an intelligent conversation with my siblings,
Smart.
and then I can talk to Rocket Money and be like, "Hey, her cable bill is $90. I need you to get that down." And
Dude,
they literally just set out on it and they get the bill down.
look, Rocket Money is a personal finance app that helps find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your mom's personal spending if you're Peter, and helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Rocket Money has over 5 million users and has saved a total of 500 million in canceled subscriptions, saving members up to $740 a year when using all of the app's premium features. Cancel your unwanted subscriptions and reach your financial goals faster with Rocket Money. Go to rocketmoney.com/wildtimes
Wild
today.
times.
That's rocketmoney.com/wildtimes, rocketmoney.com/wildtimes.
Dude, they sent us the Raycon earbuds, man. I love these things. I wear earbuds all the time, even before they sent us these. I wear them to drown out the kids crying. I wear them to drown out my tinnitus, and I wear them at the gym to drown out the horrible music and the noise canceling that's on these things. It doesn't even compare to the other earbuds that I've had, dude.
Dude, I'm with you, Peter. And when that lady was furiously oil rubbing her body, if it wasn't for the Raycons drowning out their noise with their noise canceling, I think I would have gone insane.
Love
Look,
these
I'm a
things.
fan. I like that they come in a bunch of vibrant colors. I got forest green, which is of course naturally my favorite color. They charge in just 10 minutes, and Raycon is so confident that if you don't like them, they offer a 30-day money back guarantee, no questions asked. So
Huge.
huge. Yeah. Look, go to buyraycon.com/wildtimes to get 20% off the best-selling everyday earbuds brought to you by Raycon, buyraycon.com/wildtimes. So Ridge Wallet recently became a sponsor of the pod, which is awesome because believe it or not, Ridge Wallet first reached out to me like 7 or 8 years ago when I was first getting started. And
Really?
yeah, they sent me one of their prototype wallets way back in the day. And I
Yeah,
got to tell you, this new slim one with the
dude.
AirTag attachment, it's so much better than their old model. It's
This
crazy.
thing is great, man. I have had the same wallet for 10 years. I shit you not. Being a thin wallet has been my thing the whole time. I keep it in my front pocket. I'm not a back wallet. It's bad for your back, legit. Look it up. It's scientific. This thing it's adjustable, so it fits as you can fit like 5 to 12 cards in it, and it has the money strap. I'm telling you, man, this thing has been a game changer for me, this Ridge wallet.
RFID blocking technology, over 100,000 5 stars review, a 99-day risk-free trial. If you don't like it, there's a reason that people love this thing. I'm telling you, right now, Ridge is having their once-a-year anniversary sale. Get 40% off at ridge.com/wild. Just head to ridge.com/wild to see their biggest sale of the year. After you purchase, they will ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. It makes a huge difference to us, keeps us on the air, guys, and you're not going to hate it because Ridge is awesome. So, I, I told everybody on this or the bonus pod, I took my son camping over the weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got home to unload the camping gear, and my garage freezer, which you both have had items out of, a lovely stand-up Sub-Zero freezer,
Yep.
uh, is beeping. Has an alarm on it for when the
Uh-oh.
temperature has gone up too
Something
much.
very, very bad has happened.
Uh-oh.
I go to the
Beeps.
freezer. I mean, the story doesn't need to be as long as I'm making it. Go to the freezer. Freezer's dead. Everything in there, 150 plus pounds of wild game
Oh,
is.
not the wild boar
Oh yeah,
sausage.
all the bar
No.
sausage, all the fish, all the lobster, everything is
Oh,
fortunately
God.
not unfro. The top shelf is totally thawed out. The second shelf is like slushy
Yeah,
material,
yeah,
and the third shelf is like mostly frozen to fully frozen because hot air at the top, blah blah blah.
yeah,
But
yeah.
the debacle is it's like 200 plus pounds of wild game meat in this freezer. And my freezer in my house is it's about the size of that fridge right there. So
Yeah.
I had nowhere to put it. So major panic. This was after coming back from a camping trip, watching roads. Drove to Home Depot. They don't have a stand up freezer that fits a space. Drove to Lowe's. They don't have a stand up freezer that fits a space. Drove to Costco. They don't have a stand up freezer that fits a space. Drove to Best Buy. They don't have one. Went everywhere. Literally,
Yikes.
this went until like 10:30 at night. Finally, out of a stroke of like dumb luck, I called one of our neighbors who I happened to notice had a chest freezer in their garage, and they're
Oprah?
selling.
Rob Lowe?
No, neither of them.
Oh,
A
they're
man
close
named
by.
Michael, and
Okay.
Michael happens to be selling that house. And I noticed he had a chest freezer, so I called him and I was like, "Hey, is there any way that chest freezer in your garage is plugged in and empty?" And he's like, "Yeah, actually, it's both of those things." And
Nice.
so I ran all the remaining meat that wasn't trashed up there and ordered a new freezer that was delivered yesterday while I wasn't here. So it was just such a debacle, like moving 200 pounds of meat. I had to
Yeah.
like text my rugby group thread and was like, anybody who wants thought out game, it's here. And I had a line of people coming to pick it up. It was just, it was a mess.
That's the tough thing that happens once in a while. That's an emergency with everything being only orderable online now. Like we try to get like an HDMI cable at Animal Com or something. We needed like a obscure number, like a 75-foot one. $300 at
Right.
fucking Best Buy, and
Right.
they had one and it didn't work. So
And that's why Best Buy doesn't exist anymore. I mean, it's
right.
the blockbuster of stores.
By the way, I actually went to one this weekend, and
Mm.
Do you know
because
what's happening, Peter? I want to just point something out. I'm
No, I'm
interrupting
not
Patrick
sure.
intentionally. Do you know what's happening?
No, go ahead. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Patrick's such a good producer that he somehow knows what box stores we're going to talk about, like Smart and Final or Best Buy, and he goes there ahead of time
that's
and
right.
Right.
purchases the product so that he
That's
has
right.
something to
It
contribute to the conversation.
it's a quantum mechanics thing. I do feel he's got
That's
heightened
exactly right.
ESP.
No, they have quite a selection of toasters on their website. There's one down the street. I figured it'd be a good. I can get my 3-year-old excited about stuff like that. I say we're going on an adventure to find a new toaster. So we go to the Best Buy. Guess what? They don't sell toasters in store.
Wow.
The
Yep.
price point's too low. I was
For a
told.
toaster.
Yeah.
You got to buy a
So
full washer dryer there.
yeah. So then I had to drive across the street to Crate and Barrel, of which then picked from the selection of 3 toasters they had available.
That were each $900.
We're making some lovely toast, though. I'll tell you
Oh,
that.
that's good.
That's great.
yeah.
That's
As long
great,
as you have good toast.
Dude, so when you were, I'm sure we told the story in a previous pod, but there's a new part to it. So we got together for the Christmas party. I said, let's do a funny prank on Peter and film it. And
Yep.
I was
Forrest,
not excited.
no, well, Forrest said, oh, I've
Let's
got this.
drug him.
Let's drug him with this
Yeah.
Cava
I
powder.
was not excited about it. Even after hearing about it, I was like, you guys were going to drug me. I
We
would
were.
have shit my pants and had a panic attack, gone to the ER.
So I forget, where did you get the Cava?
In Vanuatu.
Yep.
Ah, that's right. And so you were like, oh, it's crazy. It makes your throat go all funny. People freaked out.
Yep. These are all things that happen.
And
Yeah.
so he wanted to drug you with it.
Yeah.
Yep. I
Face
did.
goes numb for 10 minutes, end up in the ER. Would have been hilarious, by the
Well,
way.
I'll tell you
Thanks.
what, I mistakenly the other day drank a Cava tea made with Cava powder.
Yeah.
So it's like, wow, it's weird. I was like, my tongue feels like it's coated in wax.
Interesting.
And I was like, what is going on? And I looked, I was like, oh, this is the shit that Forrest
Yep.
was talking about.
Yep.
Yeah.
I gotta say, man, it's fantastic.
You
Where
like
did you
it?
get this Cava
In
drink?
the right dose, it is
Yeah.
nice and relaxing and just
How's it making
melts
you
your
sleep?
stress away. It doesn't help me sleep. But it definitely it fucking relaxes the shit out of you. I'll tell you
It's
that. It makes
I
you
know
feel real nice.
I actually know like quite a bit about Cava and these types
Wow.
of
How do you know these things?
over the counter because I'm into like reading about drugs and drugs that are legal and stuff like that. And Cava has been used for thousands of years. You got to be sure you don't use it every day because literally there are withdrawal symptoms and whatnot. But Pat,
Oh,
I'm
I've
curious.
seen it. I've seen it.
I'm curious, where did you get the Cava drink, like unbeknownst to you?
It was just we have a cabinet. I said to my wife, "Do we have any tea?"
Yeah,
I don't
okay.
drink tea, but I was like, I'm not gonna have wine, but I'm staying up for another hour, so
Yeah.
maybe I'll have a tea. She
Yeah.
was like, yeah, and I was like, ooh, this one's called de-stress or calm or something
Sure.
like that. And I was like,
Yep.
yeah, I'll take that one.
Yep.
And yeah, it's 85 milligrams of Cava, and it says on there, it's
Okay.
like for an even more chilled out experience, try 2. So I haven't gone up to 2 yet because one is like you definitely want to get in bed.
That's great.
Yeah.
Man.
It's real nice.
Are you
man.
getting the face numbing or not?
Oh yeah, dude, a little bit. But I think if you double up, that's
Yeah.
where you're gonna get it. But it definitely makes my tongue numb.
You really got to start low on these things. And like that bag of powder that you brought, like knowing about the Kratom and Cava world, like 85 milligrams, like that's, you're a gram of something. You're talking about like barely 1/10 of that. So it's okay. You have to start very, very small. If you just bump that up to like 200 milligrams, it's a minute amount of powder, but now you're like ODing on Cava.
I bet that's what happened to you guys at the restaurant for us.
Yeah.
You
Oh,
guys
for
probably
sure.
went like 300-400 hundo milligrams.
Which is like a tiny spoonful thing.
I mean,
really?
Oh,
to
yeah,
be-
it's nothing.
To be clear, I was never going to test how much I was going to give you. I was just going to put a lot
You
in
probably were going to put half the bag, and I think the bag was like
Nah,
6 grams.
I would have done full bag for sure, no question, and just gave it to you. There's
That
no,
was- he
there's
might have
no
died.
question about it.
It could have died. I
Nah, I
definitely
think
would
you
have
would've
been
been
in
okay.
ER.
I think you would have been semi okay.
I'd be like, oh, guys, I feel
I feel bad.
take me to the fucking ER.
Dude, it is.
My
I'll
kids
tell
are
you what,
here.
Peter, you might want to get on this train because it fucking
No, I
mellows
stay.
me out, baby.
Dude, I was heavily addicted to Kratom, which is
I remember.
yeah,
What is
it's like
that?
Kratom is like it's essentially and don't go out and do it because it'll ruin your life. It's a legal opiate that they sell, and it comes in various forms. The first one being the same as Cava, where they crush up kind of the leaf into a powder so you can take it and feel good. But then what they do, like humans do with the Kratom, is they put it into very, very extracted and strong tinctures where a tiny
What's a
dribble of it.
tincture? I
It's
don't
like
even
a
know
little-
what these
A little
words you're
spritz,
saying
a
mean.
little spray.
It's like
Oh, okay.
a little bottle of liquid where you take one and it literally feels like you've taken a prescription only like Percocet or something.
Huh.
And then, you get like me, I'm an addict, so you get heavily addicted to, you start taking it every day and you get divorced.
That's like the most sad way to describe something I've ever heard. Like me, you're an addict and you get addicted and then you get a divorce.
I mean,
this is-
I will say it was pretty dark. Like when you were deep on the Kratom, because like you would tell me
Can
about
we look
it.
this up? Kyle, can
He
you pull
was-
Kratom up?
Oh,
I
I
don't
would-
even know what this
I
is.
Because
can
you
tell
were
you all
buying,
about
like you were
Kratom.
setting up deals on like dark web and like
well, not dark web, but like I
You
mean,
were doing some sketchy drug deals, though.
it was sketch, and also you don't know what's in it. It doesn't have any. This comes from Thailand and Indonesia, I believe Thailand mostly. And there's nothing controlling what's in what you're getting. You know, you're getting it from like a
what does
head
that
shop
mean?
where they sell bongs and
Oh,
shit.
oh, I see what you're saying. I was like, "What?" Yeah. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, yeah. So there's no regulation or anything on what's in it. So who knows if they were putting other kinds of powders, legal or gray area powders in it to make you come back. But it's highly addictive, and it ruined my marriage. So
I still wanna know what it is. Like, what is the
it's
derivative of it?
well, it's got this thing called mitrogen 9 in it, which is the active chemical.
Where are
And
you getting this from? How do you know these
I
things?
was addicted to it for years, bro. I mean, I was
Say
taking it.
say the name of it again? I literally have already forgotten it.
Mitrogen 9 is
No, the actual
Kratom.
drug. Kratom.
Kratom. Yeah.
Did Kyle put this on screen? Did I miss it?
He did. You
Can
were
you pull I mean, he did, but I didn't get a chance to look at it. Can you pull it back up, Kyle?
yeah. Um
Kratom.
and so, it's got this there's active alkaloids in it that mimic antidepressants, and this isn't FDA approved, so it's everywhere. They sell it in gas stations, they sell it everywhere now. And Pat, the only reason it really, like, I was thinking about it was I've actually been listening to some podcasts. They promote heavily this new product called Feel Free, which is a combination of Cava and Kratom. And all of a sudden, these things are being sold everywhere, and people are getting heavily addicted to it, and like having to go to rehab and get off it with Suboxone, which is like a heroin thing to get off of heroin. And they have to they go through brutal withdrawals. And I was like, and it's being sold in like gas stations, fucking nationwide. And I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
Huh.
Dude, I see this shit that you see at the gas station. Like, I always see that rhino pill that's like a
Yeah,
dick pill.
yeah, I know
I'm
exactly
like,
what you're
dude, I
talking
bet
about.
you take that shit. Like, 50% of people who pop that end up with a priapism getting their dick drained in the ER. Like, don't you think? Like, this is the packaging alone. I'm like, dude, I don't know what, like, that. I, oof.
Dude, so as I've said, though,
I just had a stroke.
I'm
Did
a
you hear that?
I did. I thought it cut out, but it was a stroke. No, but dude, like, so I've been into like kind of I've been trying to find legal mind altering chemicals for years and years, but I've realized the error in my ways, and I kind of stay away from and research everything heavily now. That's why when Magic Mind reached out to us and like they told me what was in the gummies and everything, I was like, oh, like that's all just like natural shit that I used to take to kind of like get off of the kratom and feel better and stuff. So they actually just sent me because they're a sponsor. They sent me a bag of 90 of these new gummies, bro. Have you guys tried the gummies?
No,
No,
have
I
you? It
have
doesn't
not
look
yet.
like it's
Dude,
open.
I haven't opened it, but I have other gummies because they sent miniature packages, but now they're selling them big time. And these are fucking incredible, dude. It's basically like one of the Magic Mind shots in 3 of these. And I swear to God, like I took one before a workout the other day, and no joke, man, I did the workout. I did a elliptical plus like 3 sets of weights and did the sauna, and my life was changed. I was
Can I-
out of my depression. I
Oh,
felt
dude.
so good.
No, I mean,
I've had a C4 and 2 cups of coffee today. I'm scared to have a Magic
Dude,
Mind. 'Cause
no,
it's
they're
caffeine.
not.
I'm
No.
cracking in. No, that's
Dude,
what I'm saying. I'm cracking in.
But that's what I want to say about Magic Mind. I have done all of this shit to extremes, the Kratom, the Cava. These give you just a wonderful, energetic kind of like you feel good and relaxed, and there's no like negative effects that I've ever experienced from it. And they're not like addictive like all this other shit.
Guys, I just want to interrupt quickly because I need to tell you that you can get your own Magic Mind gummies now. Just use code WILD40 or the link in the description to unlock the launch offer, and you'll get 40% off your order. Okay, you're going to love them. Let's get back to the show. Tastes like
And so-
candy.
can you
too.
stop wasting your time with the elliptical, by the way? Or do you
Bro,
just,
you
sorry,
said that
do
to
you
me?
just like it? Sorry, I don't mean to say it that way. Do you do
Yeah, you
it
do.
because you like how it makes you feel? Like you just like the brain, or are you doing it for weight loss?
Well, I'll just start by saying I lost several tens of pounds
By cleaning
just
up
by
your
doing
diet.
the elliptical in my
No, by
garage
cleaning
for a
up-
couple
cleaning
months
up your diet, yeah.
and eating better. Yes. However, the elliptical for an old man, 41 like me,
Oldman.
dude,
An
if I go
Oldman.
for a 1 mile jog, my knees are shot for like a week and then I'm fucked. Yeah, I got to deal with the kids and shit. Elliptical is good for people, and it does the arms, except it did give me tennis elbow. So now I just run on it without grabbing the bars.
You got tennis elbow from the elliptical? I could see that. It's just
Yeah,
so
I did.
repetitive.
Well, no, and as
True.
you start to advance on the elliptical, I know it's an animal podcast. I'm sorry,
No,
but
it's not.
No, I
It's
find
not. It
this
never has
fascinating.
been.
this is
All
adventure and wildlife and exercise. So, no, as you get more and more like into the elliptical, you become stronger and stronger, and it's not enough. You don't get enough of a heart rate lift. You have to turn up the resistance on the elliptical. And when you do that, you're using your arms so much more. It's like an arm workout. And then, yeah, I got tennis elbow because I was doing it 5 to 6 days a week in my fucking garage. I'm like pulling along, and now I have chronic tennis elbow. So stick with the Magic Mind gummies and stay away from that elliptical.
I just ate 3 per the back of the package because
I'm
I'm
gonna
over
eat 3
17.
too.
I just did it. I need no more caffeine. It's perfect.
So,
so good.
Kyle, can you pop on for a second? I know
Hi.
you've been. I see you in the show doc, frantically just moving your cursor around. So I want to give you an opportunity.
Yeah.
You pick which news story you want to do next.
Okay.
Oh, smart. Really smart. Dude,
Yeah.
Kyle's never
is a
had this much
producer.
control. He's
This is-
not going to know what to do.
What is? Which is the one?
He's
It's-
a producer. He should
It's
know.
the Spix Macaw reintroduction. We should talk
That's a
about
big
that.
deal. That's a
All
big
right, so
deal.
so what is it? Give us the one-liner into it.
Can you get a mic, Kyle? It's pretty.
Do you not hear me? Can you hear me?
We
Is this
hear
not
you
good?
and the cars behind you. You're clearly that mic is not plugged in or not in use.
Interesting.
Uh,
Yeah, you know, Forrest.
yeah, so the Spix Macaw
That's
is really-
great. I got to pause, dude. I asked him to give a one-line intro into it, and he said, "Yeah, you know, Forrest, have at it."
Technically,
sorry.
that's one sentence.
It's horrible production, even though he's great at everything. That was terrible. He's almost as bad as me.
Okay. Can I?
Sphinx
Please.
Macaw.
Thank you. All right. We've all seen the lovely kids movie Rio. Yes? How many wines have you had, Petter?
I just filled it up to the top, so I'm here now, and I'm going to pour a
Smart.
full another one. It's
Nice.
Friday.
Have you seen the movie Rio, Petter?
I'll just say yes. I think I have. I don't.
Patrick, you've seen it, right? You have 2 daughters.
We just started it as like a, because you know how it is. You watch a movie and then that's the only movie for 2 months. So we just watched it for the first time like
course,
a couple
yeah.
nights ago.
Okay, it's this movie. It's a great kids movie, by the way. Second one loses the plot a little, but Rio 1, tremendous. It's
Yeah.
all about this beautiful blue macaw that is the last of his kind. He's living in a bird cage in, I think, like Michigan with his female owner, and he's the last of his kind. And that movie is based on the Spix Macaw. Now, the Spix Macaw is, I think we've talked about this. It's a real animal from northern Brazil that lives in a high desert region that was driven to extinction. And I can go deep onto why it was driven to extinction in the wild, blah, 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 blah.
Well, yeah. I mean, just give us the the one line. How did it get humans?
I mean, yes, but it's kind of a confluence of things. So first of all,
Okay.
they're relatively low density. Secondly, they're beautiful, so they were collected for the pet trade.
Mhm.
Then in this arid region, they brought in goats to farm in the area, and the goats ate all of the sapling trees that the Spix Macaws nest in. At the
Mm.
same time, it's all really interesting, but at the same time, invasive bees came into the area. So the few large trees that did remain as nesting grounds for the Spix Macaw, they nest in hollows of trees the same as these invasive bees. So these invasive bees came in and created hives in Spix Macaw nesting areas. So before you knew it, there was only a few Spix Macaws. There was nowhere for them to nest, and the remaining ones that were around got caught for the pet trade. So in boy, don't quote me on this, but I want to say like early 90s, late 90s, there was down to 16 Spix Macaws left total. 0 in the
Damn.
wild,
Yeah.
16 across captive collections.
It was early 90s.
Early
That's
90s.
crazy.
Great.
I mean,
Is
I'm
it
seeing
16?
15 is
15. There you
so-
go. There,
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm this is
Still
all
like
off of
You're,
memory.
you're off by one, sir.
An insanely low number.
This is all 100%
15
off
in
of memory.
captivity, 0 in the wild.
Right.
Crazy.
And then the story gets really crazy. I've wanted to write about this in the book that I'm currently working on, but the guy will not do an interview. My understanding, and I'm probably going to get in trouble for telling this, is there's a crazy guy who runs a parrot organization, and his name rhymes with Barton Schmuth. And Barton Schmuth is allegedly a German gangbanger who went to prison, this, that, and the other thing, but fell in love with these parrots. And what I respect, this is the stories I've heard. What I respect so much about this guy, who I won't say his real name, is that he came out of prison, quote unquote, reformed, but then continued to break the law, but it was laws of conservation. So my understanding is he collected a whole shit ton of money, flew around with nefarious money in private jets, collecting the remaining Spix Macaws and took them all to Germany and then started a breeding program against like the IUCN, the International Union for the Conservation of Nature, against like the Brazilian government, against all these people. He's like, fuck you guys. If we don't act, these macaws are going extinct. So this crazy German gangbanger guy, again, just my understanding, I don't know him, flew around the world collecting these macaws after getting out of jail, I believe, breaking all kinds of international smuggling laws, IUCN laws, like CITES laws, everything, brought as many of these parrots as he could together and started a Spix Macaw breeding program. This is all hearsay. This is what I've heard through the grapevine. You know,
Yeah,
if
but very interesting nonetheless.
if whatever I made the rhyme of his name sounds like, here's this. I'm sorry. This is just what I've heard because I do respect this person a lot for doing this and saying, fuck you. Because as we all know, one of my biggest gripes with conservation is that it's people sitting around talking about doing things, not taking action. And this guy just said, fuck it, and just did it. Anyway, broke a lot of laws, made a lot of people really unhappy, and started this breeding program for these parrots. Now, of course, because he's done that, he's valuable to the parrots, and now he's sort of seen as a hero. But he created this parrot breeding program. There's now several hundred or several thousand in captivity at various zoos and facilities around the world.
That's
Well,
great.
Ventara, India, the place that I went to and filmed at that I've talked about a couple times, they have one of these captive breeding programs. So they got a bunch of these parrots that came from the 15 and started breeding them, and they bred 42 of them that they then flew again on a private jet, I believe, all the way from India to northern Brazil, where the ACTP, the parrot organization, is doing reintroduction programs, which my team actually, Mitch and JQ, went and filmed the first ever reintroduction into the wild. And that was, I believe, 6 birds 2 years ago. And then Ventara and ACTP and the Brazilian government in collaboration just released 2 or 3 days ago, 2 or 3 weeks ago, whatever it was, 41 Spix Macaws back into the wild. So like,
That's fantastic.
but what's even more fantastic is they've gone through all the trouble of like assuring that these animals that were extinct in the wild are now going to thrive. Like they've removed the goats, they've planted trees, they've tried to get rid of the invasive bees. Like it's like full picture conservation. And all of this has come about by this crazy guy who's like, fuck you, conservation organizations. I'm just going to do this because if I don't, the animal's going to disappear. And I think it's awesome.
Probably a rare instance of somebody like that doing that and then it succeeding at such a grand scale. Like you wouldn't recommend like there's that guy and then there's the guy that goes and releases the goldfish into the pond.
Of course. But the difference is it doesn't need to be education like you need to go to university. You just have to make educated decisions. Like the PETA folks that go and buy fucking grocery store Maine lobster and throw them into the San Diego Bay are idiots and assholes, and they're hurting the environment.
Right.
This guy, Schmartin Schmuth or whatever the hell I made up his name. Yeah. He actually like studied this and was like, holy shit, if I don't do something, these birds are going to go away while conservation organizations sit around and argue and protect, their few birds.
Right.
And so it's just a different thing. It's not like I'm an activist, I'm an eco-terrorist, I'm going to go do this thing. It's like, hey, I made like a good choice here for the good of a species. And he did.
It's a plan. I mean, it's kind of parallel to something you would do that's sanctioned, that you got all the permits and the approval for, whatever you had to do, or most of the permits and approval, and then went out and followed through with a plan and coordinated with other organizations that were working towards the same thing. Whereas kind of the eco-terrorist side of it, like you can't just reintroduce, these lobsters into the ocean where their habitat's already decimated, or there's some now other non-invasive species that's taken over there. And now you're just starting a war of lobsters in the ocean.
This is interesting. I was just reading about the macaw and how they sort of made the comeback. So all of the 200 plus that are alive between captivity and the ones that were released descend from 7 birds.
Yeah. So
all of the currently living birds, the gene pool started with 7 birds in Switzerland.
Does that explain why though? Because there's an interesting reason to that.
Was it the Sheikh, the guy, the Qatari guy?
So the Qatari guy, my understanding, and again, this is all hearsay, so people can fact check this or look it up online. But my understanding is the Qatari guy was the one who financed Schmartin Schmuth or whatever I said his name was.
Well,
Yeah.
that would
Barton Booth.
track because
Right.
that would track because
But then
he
sorry, go ahead.
basically rounded up as many of the birds as he could and started a breeding program in
But then
Qatar.
the birds that he rounded up in Qatar are I forget what it was, but it's basically I think it was 2 males and 5 females, and one of the males was infertile. So it was all down to one horny bugger to do the whole job. And
Ah,
literally this guy he just had the dream job. He was just like pipe chicks as much as you can.
yeah.
And that's what he did. He laid more pipe than a plumber and saved a species.
Well, they
Good
got
on
up to
him.
they got up to 64. There's 64 birds in that facility now.
Pretty awesome. So
Yeah.
I love that story. I love the whole plight of the Spix Macaw. Kyle, see if you can. It's on, I think it's called Vagabond. It's Mitch and JQ's YouTube channel, and it has the reintroduction of the Spix Macaw. This is the only footage that exists of it. None of this makes any sense to me. Not just the whole Spix Macaw story, but this. Mitch and JQ got high. I got contacted, and then I was like, I can't help much with this. Use my camera guys because they got hired to film the reintroduction of the Spix Macaw, the first one ever. It was like 6 birds or something 2 years ago. And they filmed it all and edited it all beautifully for our nefarious guy that I'm mentioning. And then he was like, yeah, cool. I don't really want it. So they just put it on their YouTube channel. So
What's their channel called?
what's their channel called, Kyle? You can pop on for a second.
Well, we got the video playing here
Oh,
too,
we got
right?
the
Is this
video
it?
playing.
It is Vagabond. Okay, this is them though. These are the birds. Look how beautiful they are that actually went back into the wild. And they filmed and edited this whole thing. Mitch and JQ. Just go scrub forward to the 3.5 hours it took for the birds to actually leave the nest. So the way they did it was really interesting too, because I know we've talked about this many, many times. Because you can't just dump birds in the wild, like they won't survive. Like you have to do it carefully.
Yeah.
They had this whole program, which was like the soft release, so you can see the radio trackers on the birds, which they're wearing there. And man, I'm trying to remember what species it was, but they used another species, kind of like a Judas goat, like to show them what to do. And I don't remember what the
Interesting.
other species was, but they basically made the Spix Macaws friends with another species. And then
Wait, was that Peter's wife?
Dude, I thought the same thing.
Legit, there's just cut to a shot of Peter's wife.
Yeah, she is
Can you-
hot.
can you bring
chick
that
was
back
hot.
up?
Oh wow, that looks a
Incredible.
lot like Leah.
That's pretty alarming.
Yeah.
Well, alarming for you. I mean,
Is
I'm
this her
curious.
previous life? Was she a Spix Macaw?
Was she a
Macaw?
Spixer?
I don't know,
Was
but
she a
I'm turned
Spixer?
on right now. I
Anyway,
will
let
say,
me finish the Juice Goat
Yeah.
thing because it's interesting. So for their soft release, maybe Kyle will find it or somebody will find it, but they used another species that was native and comfortable there, put them into captivity, made the Spix friends with those, and then let those ones out first. And then after a week or so, they opened the door for the Spix and they're like, all right, go find your buddies. And it took
Dude.
the Spix, because they'd been raised in captivity, they left the doors open so the Spix could come and go. But it took the Spix like 3 hours to actually leave the cage and go like,
Yeah.
all right, let's go check this out. And then they went looking for their buddies, and their buddies were like showing them around. You know what I
Dude,
mean?
that
They're
is
like Judas
fucking-
goading.
That's
It was so cool.
amazing. I've never
Yeah.
heard of that. Didn't know that was a thing. And it's like, I always learned something fascinating. Well, probably like once an episode now. It used to be like 3 or 4 times. And that's it for this episode. I mean, it's unbelievable that they went out like just hanging out with their buddies. Like, oh yeah, check it out. You can fly over here. You get to check this out over here. Oh, look
Right.
at this beautiful
Yep.
river. Like,
Yep. Here's a good
God.
nesting ground. There they are. See the Judas parrots
Yeah,
there?
yeah,
I forget
totally
what they
different
are, but those
birds.
are them. And they're like, hey, buddies, like, this is pretty sweet over here. And then, yeah, that all led to the first ever returning to the wild of the Spix Macaw. And now, 2 years later, the big pot of 41 has gone back. So, anyway, it's a lot of time on Spix Macaw, but it's a really cool story.
So, and then right now we went from 16 back in, what was that?
2 years ago. Oh, 16 was in the early 90s. 15
And now
was
we're
past.
back up to like estimated.
I think there's several hundred in captivity, maybe over 1,000. I don't know.
I think it's definitely not 1,000. I think it's like
No.
a couple hundred.
Any in the wild? Do we not know? Are they tracking them? Or are they?
Oh, no.
well, just-
So what are you talking? It's literally what we've just
Well,
talked
that's
about.
what I was saying.
just
Though. So
spent 15
estimated
minutes.
in the wild, like the ones in captivity. Yeah, there's a few hundred, but like in the wild, do you think there's hundreds, thousands now? Or do they track it?
Am I having a stroke?
No, I don't
Okay.
know what's. So Peter, I'm not making fun of you at all.
It's okay. You can. I mean, I don't catch every little thing. I was so engulfed
It's not every
in the
little
Judas
thing.
birds.
It's the entire that Judas bird story and the entire news story. So this all started when I said, Kyle, what's your favorite? What's in the news story? Everything we've talked about is that there were none in the wild. And for the first time, they just released several of these birds into the wild.
Okay, I think I got a little confused because you said a couple of years ago, Mitch and them released a few, and then the news story they released more.
Fair. I'm confused by that too.
Okay, sorry. Well, it seems like you got it. Seems like you got it.
I'm just saying, is there 10 birds? Is there 100?
52.
Okay, 52. Thank you. That's all I needed.
So
Why not just say, hey, there was 52?
The first group went out with Mitch and JQ in 2022, I believe, and then 41 were released last month.
Okay, gotcha.
So now
I missed that
52.
41 last blurb because I was so intrigued with the Judas
That's
birds.
fine. You know what? You cleared it up for those that weren't listening.
Well, and those who are pretty stupid laymen like me who are listening to the podcast.
Oh, that's cool.
So.
Kyle just said in May of 2024, 3 chicks were born in the wild, and one of them flew for the first time.
Oh, that's awesome.
So,
Love
it's all
that.
working. It's
a
all
really
working.
fucking just great story, man. Honestly, be still my heart.
But still, I'm gonna start saying that. That's a nice way to speak.
I've taught my child to say that to adults he encounters, and they all just are like, "Oh."
You know what's funny is my one of my daughter's little male friends that she loves. We went to the
little
park.
Male humans that she loves.
And we went to the park last week, and he was doing this thing where he was being like, "At your service," and I was like, "He should lose that real quick." It's fucking annoying and not fun.
The white knight thing. At your service, my lady. I've told this story, I think, on the pod before.
It's like, don't teach your kids to say, "I have a catchphrase."
Oh,
Don't have a catchphrase.
But not just that, like at your service and then letting her take a turn or something, or like you've done something for them. I told you about that girl, Katie, with the name on the arm, embarrassing story.
Yeah.
And then we were like doing this gymnastics things where we were all taking turns jumping off this thing. And I would just keep like stepping back and be like, you go first every time.
Yeah.
You don't want your kid doing that. I did it and I'm still scarred by it. It's
What do you mean?
What
do you mean you did it?
I did it. I kept like, okay, so he was like, at your service. Like, I was like, no, you go ahead. You go ahead in front of me every time in line. I would just let her go. And she was like, okay, thanks. And it's so embarrassing when I think back to it. I just want to slip.
Let's play a game. Do we have a jingle? Kyle, do we have a jingle?
He doesn't know how to use the jingles in the virtual studio.
I know.
Nope.
He just wrote
well, let's add one for fun in silence.
Okay.
What's the game called? It's called the
Native language game. I don't know what game we're playing.
Thank you, K, for that jingle.
All right.
All right. What do we got?
Let's get Kyle to pop on screen here. Let's get him to mispronounce
Fix that
every
mic.
Make
Make sure he's using the correct mic.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me right now?
I hear
Yes.
you, but I also hear the construction going on out your window. But that's okay.
It's just him furiously ejaculating under.
That's true. He's just like,
Well, there's something insane happening with your mic.
Does it sound all right?
No.
yeah.
Great.
You're gonna have some work
okay.
to do in post.
I mean, you're talking into
Great.
the mic. You keep pulling it closer, but it's doing nothing. So that makes me think there's another mic somewhere.
someone hit a plant mic in your room.
Something's happening. It's
That's
not
exactly
gonna be
what's
pretty.
happening.
Catch your sneaky.
All right,
boots.
let's play. It's the native language game. Do we have one of those lined up?
Oh yeah.
We sure do.
How's
do
it work,
it.
Kyle? How's it work?
So there's a very strange looking word on the screen in front of me that is essentially the native language of an animal. I'm going to say
Of an animal's name.
of an animal's name, and then I'm going to say it, and you guys are going to guess what the animal is and where it's from.
Okay.
Okay. First up is blue wildebeest.
Say it with an accent, please.
Blue wildebeest.
Blue
Blau
wildebeest.
wildebeest.
Blue wildebeest.
Well, that's
Blau.
that's
Blau wildebeest.
Yeah.
okay. Well,
So blau, I think, gives a hint, and I'm not smart enough to know, but like blau gives a hint to the actual origin. Maybe you guys that'll help.
I
you.
mean, it says wildebeest, so I'm thinking of the blue wildebeest.
yeah,
but it could also be
because blau
wild.
sounds like blue.
yeah, that one.
Well,
Also, Kyle said blue 4 times.
He
before
literally
changed to
said
blau.
blue wildebeest.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Kyle said.
All right.
I'm gonna go with the blue. I think it's the blue wildebeest but in the language of I think it's Norwegian for blue wildebeest.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with the sad wild bees of Turkey.
Okay. Well,
Sad. They're blue as in sad.
Yeah.
sadly, like Patrick, I have to guess the obvious, which is that it's a blue wildebeest in Blau. Sounds German. So
Oh,
in
that's
German,
true.
I
Yeah,
guess.
blau. Mhm.
What is it?
So it is blue wildebeest in Afrikaans.
Oh, I was gonna say
Oh!
Afrikaans, but that was too on the nose.
Weirdly, I
man.
think Peter was the closest with the sad bees of Turkey.
All right, no points
Be a
awarded.
great name for a music album.
Well, I think we
Sad
get half a
bees of
point for blue
Turkey.
wildebeest.
Oh, because we all said it was
Yeah.
a wildebeest, except Peter said it was sad bees.
Well, yeah, I get a full point for bringing entertainment to the podcast.
You get a
There you
full
go.
point for creativity.
There
Yeah,
you go.
it's half points across the board.
All right.
Okay.
All right. Next up, Chang.
I know this because I have a tank top that says
Same.
Chang on it.
Everybody who's been to Thailand has the same tank top.
Everyone who's been to Thailand bought one of these tank tops for $1 and drank about 400 Chang beers. It's Thai for elephant.
Two for Thai for elephant.
I mean, I'll just there's a book called Tiki Tiki Tembo, and in the book, if you've ever read it, the child. Yeah, there is. It's the mother. It was a tradition in China where they would give a child a really, really long name, and kind of the longer the name of the child, the more prestige you would have. But then what happens in the book is that the brother of this kid named Tiki Tiki Tembo No Sarembo Sherry Berry Rooch Pip Perry Pembo, that was his full name.
Jesus.
I can't believe you remembered any of that.
So Tiki Tiki Tembo fell into a well, and his brother Chang, right? He came back to his mother and tried to tell her, Tiki Tiki Tembo Ra Shabuba Pip Perry Pembo had fallen into a well, but he ran out of breath, and his brother basically turned because he couldn't get his mom to know, he couldn't get the name out quick enough for the mom to get there to save the kid from the well.
Oh God.
So Chinese,
where was this story written? Is this like a
China.
pre-World War I German story? Like
this
what
must
is
have been
this?
like the 1500s. I don't
This
know.
baby is now from the well.
I'm telling you,
what is this
my
story?
wife was like, we need to get this book for our kid. I remember from our childhood. It is the most obnoxiously long fucking book in the world. It's horrible whenever he asks me to read it. I hate it because you got to say the name over and over. That's how I know it. But anyways, Chang was the name of the brother. And the moral of the story is that they need to really shorten the names of their kids. So that's why you'll see that Chinese kids are named with one Chang, this or that. So for my answer, I will say that Chang is a Chinese child.
That was the longest explanation to answer that I've ever heard. Kyle?
Okay, well, it's not that. It is elephant in Thai.
Peter's so annoyed that that's not what it was.
I mean, I knew it wasn't gonna be that, but I hated that you guys knew immediately because Pat's got a shirt with it on it.
Dude, anyone who's been to Thailand does. Anyone. It is the most drank beer. And what's the craziest part about it, like Mexican hot sauce when you go to Mexico, is the second you step foot back in the USA and you go to a Thai restaurant and order it, it tastes terrible. In Thailand, it's incredible.
Is that true? I don't think I've had one in the US.
It's all skunked.
It doesn't make any sense to me. All those things that overseas are unbelievably delicious. Yeah. And then you get home and order the exact same thing, and you're like, this is revolting.
I have a theory that's anything in a green bottle is skunked.
Which is Heineken's definitely
legit tastes like dog shit.
It's horrible. And I used to like it. And now I have a Heineken and I'm always like, is this skunked or is this how it has always tasted?
No, that's how it is.
I think it skunks, man.
Well, they're not going to become a sponsor anytime soon.
Yeah, never were. I would say no. I would have said
it.
no. I swear to God.
Yeah.
That is a brand we would say no to. It's dog
I
shit.
wouldn't order it. I wouldn't order it.
Fair enough.
Nope. All right, next.
Let's do one more.
Elaborately long name
Pick
question.
the best one if we're only doing one more.
All right.
Do a couple more.
Next one is Gom.
How you spell it?
G-O-M.
That's better.
Gom.
Stop! I could hear Peter typing it into ChatGPT.
Bro, I did not. And
Show your hands. Where
Show
your
your
hands.
Gum.
Gom. G-O-M.
All right.
Patrick's
I
frozen
think
with his
it's-
arms in this guy.
I think it's that what's that super muscular cow called a was it a
guar.
guar? It's
Yeah.
a
Oh, wow.
guar,
Okay.
and it's a gar or whatever. I can't say it in Danish.
All right. I'm going to say that this is a guppy in Guamish.
Guam. Well, Kyle would know. He
Yeah.
speaks, right?
No,
He
his
speaks
mom's
Guamese.
Filipino.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Sorry, he's Filipino.
She keeps trying to friend me on Facebook, by the way.
He never dropped that.
I swear to God.
Gom is it's some Sri Lankan word for a large bird.
What
we
large
got?
bird?
Oh, shit.
Oh,
He's
shit.
close.
For an egret.
Okay. It's wrong across the board. It's bear in Korean.
They made you clarify
I'm glad,
what
I'm
bird.
glad he made me clarify
Yeah,
what bird.
you got a little. Well, you got excited because you thought you were
Very.
right. Yeah.
Very excited. I was like, no way, I'm onto something here. Yeah. One
Nice.
more.
Can I-
One more.
Yeah.
I like this game.
No.
One more.
Okay, one more. Let's see.
What kind of bird?
Yeah.
Uh,
That was
Seriously,
weird.
I mean, that's good producing, though, if you ask me.
I like Kyle's hat.
Okay.
I like his elk hat.
I'm gonna go
There's a
Imbulu.
dead upside down elk on his hat.
Spell
Is
it.
it?
Down.
Imbulu. Imbulu.
Imbulu.
Oh, man. Okay,
sounds
I got
fire.
it. This
Okay,
is
go.
this is a one of the like natives of Australia, like, you know, their native tongue. I don't know what the name of their actual tribe is, but one of them, and it is an elk in Bulu.
This is Swahili.
It's like native for an elk.
It's Swahili for some sort of bovid that runs really quickly, some sort of antelope that
Yeah.
exists in Africa.
I'm tracking what Pat's saying. It's
Of
like
course you are.
No, shut up. I speak a little bit of these languages. So it sounds like a tribal African language. So I'm going to say that it's what did you already take Swahili?
I said Swahili, yeah.
All right. Well, Edwin likes to trick me and put Shauna ones in there that I should know. I'm going to say it's Shauna for Imbulu. For let me look at my African animal map.
Get the fuck out of here, dude.
Imwa
That's-
is dog.
Stop!
It's Shauna for a caracal. For a
Okay.
cat named a caracal.
Again, wrong across the board.
See?
Damn it.
You're
What
getting
is
all
it?
upset like I was gonna get it.
No,
by
I'm
saying
upset, and
things.
I'm going to tell you why after he tells us the answer.
Okay,
Okay, so it's chameleon for Kosa or in Kosa.
Kaza.
Like
Oh,
Costa
interesting.
Rica?
What's Kaza?
Kaza is the it's a native language of Africa.
Pat, are you laughing at what I said?
It says here
Costa
that
Rica?
it's
No.
a
I'll tell you.
Bantu language, Southern Africa, South Africa, Zimbabwe.
Yeah.
I'm laughing because you said Costa Rica and then cracked up at your own joke.
And then called you out and asked if you were also laughing
And
at me.
I was just like, I was just laughing. The reason it made me laugh is because I'm like, he's in that place where he feels so good because he just had a big glass of
Totally.
wine.
Well, I actually this will be the last of the full bottle in just 2 tall glasses. But I do want to say this.
Costa Rican.
I'm the first one that came out and said it is like a native of a tribe in Africa, or not in Africa. I said in Australia. What I meant was like an African tribe. All right. I just want to point that out. I am the one that definitely jogged your guys and pushed you into
Fine.
that lane. But the fact that you have a fucking poster to cheat at the game just over there you're looking at in your garage, you have all these words? Are you colluding with Edwin?
Yes, I have every language animal.
It's not every
poster
language
in the world on my wall.
No, just Afrikaans and other tribal languages from
Only
Africa.
in English. Here, I will prove it to you.
Prove it
You
right
guys-
now.
You guys want one more?
Yeah, of
Yes.
course.
There's my map. See it?
All
See it?
right.
There it is.
All right. All right.
See it?
Yeah. I mean,
Only in
honestly, to even
English, only in
decipher anything
African
out of that
animals.
would be a fucking genius could do.
Yeah, it's literally just African animals that I referenced when I thought it was an African word. That's
Okay,
all.
I
Petter.
get it. Listen, I'm not trying to beat you down. I'm just saying I was kind of the one that pushed you guys towards
Okay.
like this native
You know what?
tongue.
Hey, Peter or Patrick,
I
can
get
we
a
agree
quarter
that
point.
Peter gets
Quarter
2
point.
points for that. Let's give
Oh,
him
2 points. Don't be
Two-
facetious,
two
you
whole
son of a
points.
bitch.
No, You
I want a
you want
quarter
pity
point,
points?
Kyle.
No, you want pity points? You get pity
No, I
points.
don't.
Quarter point.
I want a fair quarter point.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Thank you.
good job. You won the
And
game.
I want you to
Or do
put
you feel
both of
good
them
now?
to 0.
You feel good about your win?
And both
well
of them
done.
to 0.
All right, one more. Last
All
one.
right. Okay. Nanook.
Oh,
Nanook of the North?
This is obviously Inuit for polar bear.
Dude, isn't Nanook
gonna
of
say-
the North the movie they made you watch in high school where he was like getting with the dude's Eskimo wife and all that?
Not that I've seen. I didn't.
All right.
I don't know that one. You're probably right.
I think that's a Pornhub that you look at.
I'm going to say this is Greenlandic for muskox.
Nice.
I'm definitely going with where the igloos are. Nanook of the North was a 1922 American silent film that combines elements. Yeah, and they feature heavily seals. So I'm going to go with a seal from wherever Nanook of the North was from.
No, come on. Say it. Say at least a continent,
Alaska.
not a continent. Okay.
But that's where Nanook was from.
Yep.
All right.
By the
So
way, a 7 points, 100% on Rotten Tomatoes.
there you go. Forrest with the full point.
Really?
Get the fuck out of here.
was-
Greenlandic polar bear.
No, I
Wow,
said
good.
Inuit. I don't know if that's the same.
So it says here that it's. You might have to help me out here, Patrick. Kalalisut.
How is he supposed to help you by you
'Cause he's
pronouncing
been-
it?
been
It
to
says it's the
Greenland.
Inuit language of Greenland.
Oh shit!
okay.
I smashed that, and it's polar
Yeah.
bear.
Yeah, polar
Wow.
bear.
Nice.
All right. Well, since
just-
they were both down to
Nanook.
0, Forrest now has 1, and I have a quarter point. Pat's still 0.
I don't
Okay.
know how that's possible.
All right. What's the real score? That was actually really
Who
fun.
cares? Oh well, that was
doesn't
good.
matter.
I like that game. Every time
It's
we
so
play that
fun.
game, I like that game. That's a good game. I feel like I learned something that I immediately forget.
When I think, and it's a little bit too late to tell the brosters to chime in underneath in the comments, but they
Yeah.
should be playing along.
I gave myself too much headroom when I moved my camera back.
Dude, you know that infuriates me.
I do. Well, look at yours. You have inches of headroom.
Well, I try to do this, but then I'm
Fair
like, as I get older, I hunch more and more.
Yeah, I think
Look
we've
at
all
Pat.
lost a
He's-
couple inches.
Am I
Pat's like-
hunching?
No. Yours is like you're making
framing
sure
is
there's
good.
no space whatsoever, which is
Yep.
good.
This is good.
I have a weird taste, like as a director, because a lot of DPs will frame things up with like that much headroom.
Yeah.
And I
That's your
really,
standard framing.
yeah, I don't like headroom. Like I'd rather do a little haircut.
Well, it's interesting because I can
Interesting.
tell right now, like Pat, your camera is like a little bit higher, it looks like. And so it's
Yeah.
like pointing down a little bit. Like, because my camera is very high coming down, and this is very boring for the listeners, but the Forrest's camera is like, anyways, you look like Don Rickles.
Who-
I've
I
always
don't know.
just loved Don Rickles' name. Or Don
Dude-
Imus.
All right, I like it.
Oh, I've drank a full bottle of wine. Leave me alone.
Yeah.
We haven't done the segment in a while, but the weather has really changed. Like it
Yeah.
went from like 60 during the day to like now it's like 78 every day in LA.
And sunny. Yep.
And so I started doing something, and it made me think we should bring back this segment called Little Joys.
Ooh, I haven't done that in a hot.
Love
sec.
this segment.
So it's funny. I've people when I do look at Instagram messages, which is like once every 6 months, I remember people being like, "Dude, I tried your Little Joy." Like people liked hearing from us, just a little thing that like you might text a friend, like, "Hey, I've been doing this, and it's awesome."
Yeah.
And I actually did text this to a couple people.
Okay.
Here's my little joy. Wake up. Before I do anything work related. So I get my kids to school first, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
I get back. I just get on my bike and I just do like just put some tunes in, and I just do like a 4 to 5 mile. It takes like 20 minutes, not a long bike ride.
Mhm.
Just ride my bike in the sun, listening to music,
Yeah.
then come back, shower, and start my day. It's like not super strenuous. It's just like 20 minutes of moving your body, moving your legs, and just like being in the sun.
Yeah. Well,
Takes-
this is
Doesn't have to take long. Could only be like 10 minutes. It's just like,
Oh, yeah.
it's nice.
it's a really good reminder. I mean, like I feel like this is something that Forrest probably takes for granted because he just does this naturally every morning. He probably goes and jerks off with a toad in the creek behind his
I
house.
do
But
most
does.
days. Yeah.
you know, I'm just saying.
Don't
Like,
you
does
don't?
do
do
It's
that?
it's very nice for those of us who like just have to get up and like either go straight to work or go straight to dealing with kids it is very nice to go outside and step into the sunshine and take a whiff of the outside air.
Dude, and just listen to some good tunage first thing in the morning, you know, like whatever.
Quiet. That's my little
Are you
stop.
doing that pre-eating or drinking anything other than
Yeah.
water?
Well, I wake up,
Smart.
I have my half glass of water that next to my bed.
Yeah.
So I slug that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Then I get the kids off to school, but I haven't eaten or drank anything yet. But it's
All right,
not, like I said, it's not hard. It's not strenuous.
No, it's easy.
casual.
It's easy. I got a little joy. And this is something I've been doing since I battled back my depression by getting back into the gym. So I've created like a catalog. I wouldn't say like I'm a musical artist, but I've made many songs where I either sing or like have put together like some riffs and whatever. And I have like a little library of like 3 or 4 or 5. And so what I'll do now is when I'm in the car by myself, I just put on my own creations that I have made. And I'm just, this goes back to fucking like, I'm talking like before high school. I have a cassette tape that I digitized. That's like me playing acoustic guitar, which is obviously like horrifically embarrassing.
Mhm.
But when I listen to it, I'm like, oh yeah, like, man, life was so much simpler back then and shit. And I just pop it on and it's completely forgotten. Like I would never share it with anybody, but I listen to it myself and I'm like, man, that's what life was like back then. And this is what life is like now. So little joy, whatever you have done creatively throughout your years in those moments that you were inspired, whether it's something you wrote or something, just take it out. Pictures you've taken, look at them and be like, yeah, man, that was good. And life is good. That's it.
Interesting. I like it.
I like it.
Um,
I like it.
I have one. It's kind of bizarre, but I I'm spending way too much time on my phone and on social media because I'm sitting on planes so much. I'm traveling so much. So I end up, like I'd probably rather sit on Instagram for an hour than watch 2 episodes of a TV show on an airplane. So I have Wi-Fi on every plane. So that's what I've been doing.
Yeah.
But I've started to, and I bought Zero. I just like I was telling Jess this the other day. I don't have any hobbies anymore. I used to be all about my rugby and my spearfishing and blah 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 blah. I don't have time for it. All I do is like work and shoot and travel and blah blah blah. So I was telling her, I was like, I need a new hobby. I need something new to like learn about and get involved in. And I haven't purchased any, but I've started. And you guys know me, I'm not very materialistic. I've started learning about watches, what makes a chronograph, how you build a watch, all of these different various like little like the styles of watches, men's
The
watch versus
intricacies about
women's
how they're
watch.
built.
Yeah, all the intricacies of watches because
Yeah.
it's really interesting. There's history to watches when they first came about. I've just started, and it's just on Instagram. That's why I'm not pretending I'm an aficionado.
Building watches in your garage
But
yet.
I'm just learning. Like I'm watching watchmaker videos.
You're learning
I'm
about something new.
completely new. Like,
Yeah.
because for me, it's always like, oh, I'm going to learn about something new. Let's look into birds of South America. It's
Right.
like, well, it's not really. It's pretty adjacent to everything
So
I do.
learning about something new that is completely out of your wheelhouse, like
But
that's the little joy.
But I find it cool because like I find watches beautiful, even though I know nothing about them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And like I don't. It's not like I want to have 10 watches. I'm just learning about them now and like how they're made and watchmakers, German versus French versus Sweden or Swiss. Like
Yeah.
it
It
I
is
don't know,
interesting. Like
interesting.
I
A
can't.
new
Crazy
hobby.
to think about the first person to build a functioning watch.
Yeah,
and
that's
stick
it.
that technology
I mean,
on your wrist.
Pat, I know you got a jet, so you want
I
to do your
do.
sign off? I'm gonna keep chatting
you
with
guys.
Forrest.
Yeah, we'll
real
chat for a
quick.
bit. See you, buddy.
I love you.
Later,
But,
later,
dude,
fellas.
Good night.
it's been a weird and interesting little like visual journey where I'll click on a new watchmaker, I'll learn about what they're doing, I'll look at the history of their company,
Yes.
I'll look at their styles of watches. There are so many styles. I thought a watch was a watch, smartwatch, analog watch.
Oh,
Not at
yeah.
all. No,
No,
there's like
no.
thousands. It's so
Like
yeah.
I don't even know that much about watches, but I've definitely watched, because I've always been into like the inner workings of like kind of mechanical things and electronics. Like I've built computers and
Yep.
things of this nature. So I haven't like done deep dives into watches, but I've watched videos that like that like show you the insides of like these watches and how they work and like how they keep time in like a precise manner. And like, cause it's so fascinating because it's like, anyways, I don't want to get into the craziness of it, but like, and they're all so very different in how they keep time and
Yeah.
like how they do it accurately and how often you have to set them and everything. But I think like that little joy, man, where you kind of take a step outside of the stuff you normally do and maybe get into like a new thing. Like I had recently, my kids, I've gotten them into the planets, the solar
There you go.
system.
Something
And
just
that has
different.
then gotten
Yeah.
me into the fucking solar system.
Totally.
And I'm just like fascinated by it again, and how everything spins around the sun, and how there's a billion galaxies within the universe and a billion stars in every galaxy and all this shit. And I keep just like, I'm just like, wow, you know, there's just so many things. The little joy, I think, is just remembering that like there's things out there that you can get into that you maybe never thought you were into that are super fucking interesting.
That's it. That have nothing to do with your everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Good
I
little
love it.
joy. Good little
Well,
joy. All right.
Signing
You know what?
off.
I'll see you later. Hey,
Good
no
night.
problems here. Peter, do the thing.
Oh, yeah, dude. Go to wildtimes.club/info to see all the links, man. You got to check out the bonus pods. We talk shop. We talk behind the scenes. We do all the stuff we do on the show. It's just a little more relaxed and fun. wildtimes.club/info. Get the merch, all the links to everything. We love you guys. Good night.